Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening from. This is JP, and welcome to Jump On Music UK. And in this live stream, we're going to be talking about the looping starter kit, the course that I'm building at the moment, and your live Q&A. First of all, hello Australia Ray, hello Ravi from Glasgow. How are we doing? Hope you're okay. Couple of things. First of all, still getting off this little bit of a cough, but anyway, moving on. Yeah, we're building a course. We're building a course called the Looping Starter Kit. And if you are looking to start looping, you're thinking about looping, you're thinking about how can I get looping, there's loads of videos out there, but then there's nothing really sort of cohesive about starting looping from all different points and places, like if you want to use an app or if you want to use a pedal board, and if you want to use a computer. So what I'm looking to do is build what's called the Looping Starter Kit. So the starter kit is actually going to be wherever whichever kind of looper you're using, it wouldn't really matter, then you're going to be able to use this and start looping. I'm going to get rid of this cough, but moving on. And I just want to say good afternoon. And I also have put this down as how to loop the Looping Starter Kit live Q&A, because I want your questions. I want to know what you want to know. Now, I've been looping for a long time, and I may have forgotten stuff from the very beginning, and stuff that I've walked through the mud to get to the other side. So what I'd like to do first of all is in the chat, if you want to put down basically good afternoon or good morning or good evening and where you are. We've got Australia Ray. We know where Australia Ray is. Ravi is in Glasgow. And just let us know where you are, first of all. But then also, what I'd like to do is I've got the window, like the blind open, and things are going past me and it's distracting me. I'd like to know what you want to know for this course. That's the kind of meat of this. Whilst you might be typing where you are and also what you want in this course, I'm just going to do a couple of things. First of all, this live stream is sponsored, and it's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid. DistroKid are a music distribution company, so if you've got songs that you want to put out there in the world, or you can maybe got some songs ready, you're creating some songs, and you're like, how do I get it on Spotify, or how do I get it on Apple Music? You need a music distributor. Now, most music distributors charge you per release, but DistroKid can actually charge you one price, and it's one price for the whole year. And there is, didn't need to do that. And there is a link, basically, which is this link here, the DistroKid link, and we also have it here. There we go. I'm in frame now. So if you scan that QR code, or you go to distrokid.com/VIP/JumpOnMusicUK, the link is in the description. Oh, someone scanned the QR code already. If you scan that, then that will take you to my VIP link, and you can sign up. It's normally $19.99. But with the link, it takes 7% off. So you get it for $18.59. I mean, both of them are under $20. It's £16 here in the UK to release as much music as you want. Now, before we go any further, what I'd like to show you is this. And this is actually, I know it's over the laying of thing, this is their price plan. So $19.99. And that'll give you unlimited songs, as much as you want. So you can release an album of up to 35 songs, which is almost like a double album. And you can release as many of them as you want. You can release as many singles as you want, as many, like you imagine your acoustic albums, live albums, EPs, singles. You can even do covers. Unlimited lyrics, Spotify verified check mark, which is really cool. And then also you collect earnings from the royalty split. So imagine there's a band of 5 of you, you can split the money 5 ways. And DistroKid can help you do that. I'm on the middle one, which is $35.99, and this is basically everything in musicians, but you've got synced lyrics on Instagram, so you see the lyrics go through. Daily streaming stats, you get customizable label names, so mine's Jump On Music UK. And I've got, this is the big one, the customizable release date and pre-order dates. And they're really important because if you want to schedule your release, that's really cool. You can customize the IRC codes as well as the iTunes pricing, and you can have 2 artists or bands. And that's also why I have this, because I have me as John Paul, and then the other one is me and my friend Greg, and we do Tokyo Wasteland. I've just realized I could do that. No, there we go. And then you've got, if you're doing a label tier, you can do label as well. And it goes from $79.99 right up to a couple of £100, because obviously depending on how many artists you're managing. So obviously with DistroKid, let's just put this one back up. There we go. Obviously, there's the link here, and I just want to thank DistroKid for sponsoring the live stream. But also, at the same time, click the link that's there, and what you're going to do is scan your QR code. 3 people have scanned it already. I can tell that. And also, it means that just sign up. I mean, how many things cost $20 or about 15, 16 pounds these days? And this is actually, just buy it. And then once you've got it, you've got it. And you've got 364 to 5 days to release as much music as you want to. So even if you're not looking at releasing music just yet, then click this link, get 7% off. And then that way, you're set, you're done, you're ready. So thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring this live stream. Now then, let's go back over to the chats. And let's see what's going on. So, as I said before, it's pretty obvious Australia Ray is in Australia, and that's cool. Ravi is in Glasgow, which is just above, well, not just above me, but above me. I'm in the northwest of the UK. Dave is sitting in Canada. Whereabouts in Canada are you, Dave? I'd really love to know that, because Canada is on my bucket list. Me and my wife really want to go to Canada. That would be really, really nice. Ray, you're so kind. Thank you so much. Don't forget to click the like button to help JP. Oh, that's really nice. Yes, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, then obviously there's thumbs up and things like that. So obviously give it a thumbs up. That'd be really, really nice. That helps the channel out. It costs you nothing, but it helps me out massively. Ravi, I run my 500 through the back of my Katana 50, so the loop sounds don't change. Is there a way to go through the front and use the Katana effects? Yes, because if your Katana has a send, or a loop send, or an effect send, then you can do it that way. So that is a great, great question. Let's have a look. Do you know what? The other thing as well, just below here, below my camera, is my iPad. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be writing these down. So after the live stream, I'm going to be going back through and writing these down. That is going in. How to use it with the... This is all... pretty much a question of where do I put my looper in the effects chain? Where do I put it? Like at the beginning, at the end, and obviously you can't hear the effects of your own amp, so you want to be able to use that. That makes sense. Oh, I'm gonna have a cup of tea. So, yes, you just witnessed an Englishman drink tea. There you go. Hello, hi, how you doing? There we go. The Semtex Cow. I love that name for a YouTube channel. It's fantastic. Staffordshire. Nice. Good morning from Baltimore, Maryland, USA. And also, where's this? Woodbridge, just north of Toronto. Wow, nice. Fantastic. So my question is, let's just change this. What do you want in my new course? So my new course is called the Looping Starter Kit, and right now, whilst I'm writing and building it, I've written quite a bit of it, but whilst I'm writing and building it, it's going to go out at $97, but whilst I'm writing it, you get 25% off. Now, I realize that in the world that we're living in right now, it's a little bit tight for money, and I get that, and we're in February, and happy Valentine's Day, by the way. I've got so much to say. So, shall we do this? No, not that one. Where is it? That one. Oh, happy Valentine's Day. There you go. Lovely. Now, whilst I'm doing this, and I realise money's tight, the 25% off can actually be used, obviously, for the $97. The other thing you can do as well is you can do it in 4 equal payments of $25 each, and you get the 25% off the first month. So it comes in at like $18 to get this course. Like... And yes, this course is actually being made by me. It's not going through like a subsidiary company or anything. So what you're doing as well is, which is quite nice, is that money goes to me, and it's not being split off, and I only end up with about 5p when you go through these other teaching companies. It's actually coming through my website. So when you click on the link that's in the description box, or you have a look at the QR code, which is that one there, it will go straight to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, but with the discount already applied. If the discount isn't there, all you've got to do is put the word starter kit, all as one word, like just starter kit, all as one word, into the coupon code, and it'll bring it down to $72.75. So, talked a lot already, haven't I? So as I'm bringing up these QR codes, the other thing as well is it brings up a link in the chat on YouTube. If you are on YouTube and you want to have a go, then give that link a click. And what you can hear is my ring against my cup of tea. They said it was going to be 15 degrees today. It's 11 and it's windy. Meh. Not liking that. There we go. Let's just loop. So this looks like a looping channel. In Minnesota, lovely, nice. So we're doing I'm doing a new course, which is this, the Looping Starter Kit. Who remembers doing looping for the very first time? And there's people out there who still haven't taken the first step on that journey. So this starter kit, this course, is going to be a course all about that very first time of like looping and the pitfalls of what happens when you first start and getting over that so you can get to looping. So there we go. That's a very good question. How is it delivered? Private YouTube link or download? It's going to be basically on my website. So if you're not familiar with it, I also on my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk, I have a load of courses, and you have a login. And what you can do is you actually sign up, you log in, and then you basically can access it, no problem at all. It's not going to be a one-time thing. This is a lifetime pass, so you can log in and go back to it as many times as you want to. So it's not going to be one of those, oh, it's only going to be held on this day, and then that's it, it's gone. I want to carry on selling this course, which will be at $97, but for now, it's $72.75 because I put a discount on it while I'm building it. So how is it going to be delivered? If you go to my website, johnpaulmusic.co.uk, you can log in and you can have your own profile, which is really, really cool. And in that way, you can see the courses. You can also join the Looping Circle. The Looping Circle is my community for loopers, or for people who are loop artists. And it also works on a tablet. It works on a phone. I have an iPhone 13 mini, and it works on that. So it works on the smallest iPhone you can get, or one of the smallest modern iPhones you can get. So it works both mobile and desktop, and you can just go straight onto it. And then also anyone can join the Looping Circle, JP's Looping Circle, if you want to, and that is a community where people are just talking to each other about like, oh, how do you put this into here, or how do you put this into there. The reason why I made the community is because people are like, oh, some people are like on like the RC505 Facebook group, and some people on the RC600 Facebook group, or someone's on a Boomerang Facebook group, and they're all isolated. And what I want is a community of loopers, and I think we should learn from each other. I don't think it should be like sometimes you can need a RC600 question or an RC500 question, and that makes sense, and I get that. But what I also think is it needs to be we also need to come together and go, oh, you do it that way, oh, I do it that way, and just learn from each other naturally without having to go very, very specific. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You mean the correct sized iPhone? Yes. Well, my favorite iPhone ever was the iPhone 5S. I always loved that. So the mini is a fantastic little phone. Love it. Feels great. So yes, so come on then, questions. What do you want? What do you want in this course? Now, I say, what do you want in this course? I'm building it at the moment. I've written quite a bit already, and then we're going to start filming soon. So what I want to know is, what do you want to know from the shallow end of the swimming pool, as it were? Like, I've had a question before, like, should I use an app or should I use a foot pedal? Should I use this or should I use that? How do you connect it all up and things like that? So I've got questions like that already. So it just depends. The original SE, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm a bit older. I had the 5, the 5S, then I had the 4, had the 3GS, and then I did have the original iPhone at one point. But then the network said, oh, if you give it us back, we'll upgrade you to the 3GS. And I did it, and I'm like, looking back now, I wish I hadn't, and I could have nerdly kept it. That would have been really nice. So, Semtex out, will the course also have Loopy Pro info or generic for all loopers, hardware and software? So it will be generic. However, I will be using different loopers as exercises. So I will be going. Have you ever read those books where they're like adventure books, and it's like, if you want to go this way, turn to page this, and you're going to go across, and you want to go this way, you go to page, and it goes that way. If you know what I'm talking about, then that's great, because if you don't, I'm probably too old. But what I mean is, there's going to be points where you may miss a chapter because you're like, that's not relevant to me. So I will do app stuff, and I will do sort of pedal stuff, and we will do potentially look at doing computer stuff if there's enough market for it, if people want that. For Loopy Pro, you may have noticed I am doing a Loopy Pro video manual anyway on YouTube. So that's kind of a course anyway, and that's going to carry on. So I'm just filmed another one this morning. So that is carrying on. So if you want specific Loopy Pro information, go watch the Loopy Pro videos that are on the channel already. This is more generic, I'm going to be honest, but at the same time I will be using, oops, it's not the camera, I will be using obviously different things, including I'm going to be using a tiny little non-generic looper because I want to show what's possible with the basic looper, a basic foot pedal looper, and then I'm going to be using an app, and then I'm going to be using this, and then I'm going to be using that. So yeah, it just depends what you want to do. So I hope that answers that question. But yes, it is going to be more generic. It's not going to be about the looper. I've got courses. I've got a course on the RC600, for example. I'm looking at building a course about the RC 500 if people want to know all about that. Although I did do a lot of videos on YouTube about the RC 500, so I don't know what else I can really tell you. Maybe, I don't know. Have I held back? No. There we go. Chris, love them books. Yeah, there we go. Did you do that thing where you went, oh no, yes, if you want to go down that road, go to page 93, and you go to 93 and you go, oh no, don't go that way, and you go back. Yeah, we all did it. I love that bit. Choose your own adventure. Absolutely. Well, this is it. Maybe that's it. The looping starter kit. Choose your own adventure. Oh, is that the tagline? Have you just come up with the tagline? I mean, obviously it's from the old books, isn't it? Choose your own adventure. Love that. Let's just loop. Get the RC500 if you don't play guitar. If you do, get the 600. Ooh, interesting concept. Australia, right? Explain thyself. What's wrong with the 500? 500 great for guitars. I'm being devil's advocate here. Dude, doing yourself out of money. Loopy Pro for me. No, that's fine. The thing is, I'm not, because I'm working with Michael Tyson on this, who is a Tasty Pixel. So I'm not out of money for that. Thank you very much for worrying about that, though. But no, me and Michael are working together on that as a project. Yeah, I am being paid to do that, so don't worry. So yes, we're working together on that, and Michael wanted to do a series of videos himself, but he's far too busy actually creating new advancements for Loopy Pro and also bug fixing. He hasn't got the time. He's just one man, you know, and he's completely changed iOS looping, like, again. So my hat's off to him. My hat's off to him completely. It's all good. Namaste. If the lights are changing around here, that's because I'm using natural light. Look. A window. I don't normally do that. I normally have a light here and close everything off. So if I'm looking a bit bright, that's probably why. We probably could turn this camera down a little bit, couldn't we? Should we do that? Is that better? Or is that too dark? Let me know. I'll turn it back up if it's too dark. Right. I'd love to see some examples and hear your thought process of how you take a new song and come up with a loop arrangement for it. That's great. Fantastic, Chris. Thank you for that. Brilliant, because that's already in the course. That is something that I'm going to be doing when we get to sort of like the last third of the course, because the first part is about things like the first loop, getting timing right, you know, things like that, you know, overdubbing and how to overdub. The silent loop. Does anyone know about that? Well, you'll have to wait and find out. The silent loop is a nice little trick. But yes, arrangement is very, very good. Now I do an arrangement one on my other course, which is how to loop like a pro. And how to loop like a pro is stepping out of the shallow end of the pool and going a bit further along. Okay, so that does tap onto that as well. So ironically, on that course and the course I'm building, there will be some overshadowing of each other's courses, even though it's both me. But it's reinforcement. It's reinforcement of, like, you know, looking at looping, but I look at structure for things like undo and redo. So if you want to have a loop at that, I have the how to loop like a pro. So if you go to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, you will see that there if you want to have a look at things like that. But I will be adding arrangement in, absolutely. New song, or maybe a cover song. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a cover song, because then I've got to pay the artist to do that. But certainly I'm going to do that with my songs as well. Hello, well, that's funny. Yeah, so here we go. What's going on there? Oh, hello. All right. Sorry, just a technical thing. Hang on a second. There we go. Oh, it's changed. Why has it changed? That's weird. I used to turn the pages so I could I could backtrack. Oh, so you used to fold the page and then get to where you roll. That's clever. I like that. So it wasn't committed. Just commit. You've died. You've got to start again. That's it. Love that. That's funny. Just a little. Wow, thank you. Australia. I do play guitar, so it's a 600 for me. Guys, explain to me what's going on here. Did I miss something in the chat? Don't know, maybe I did. But the 600 is amazing. The 600 is amazing. End of. It's amazing. And that's it. The end. Any bugs that most people have had, or any reviews you've seen over the past sort of like 12, 15 months, I would turn around and say are now pretty much gone. Since they brought out the sort of measure version 1.21, I think it's on, and it hasn't had an update for a little while. There are a couple of things when you combine MIDI that it goes a bit funny, but they're very rare. But for general looping, it's fine. And then I've seen still on like the Facebook groups people having like error codes and stuff like that, and then when you drill into it, it stems from MIDI. So I think there is a MIDI issue still, but it's only certain circumstances. But I'm telling you now, I had that looper very, very early on. I'm still on the same RC600. I haven't sent it back or anything. Boss very kindly gave me that RC600 to do the initial videos for when it was released. And I touch a very big piece of wood, which is right here. I still haven't had an error code. I haven't had it break on me. I haven't had it fail during a gig. And now I've said all that, I've absolutely jinxed myself for the next gig. Played with it on Friday. Did a 45-minute set, in a support act for another band. Fine, absolutely fine. So there we go. It just depends on what you do. So 600, yeah, absolutely brilliant. A brilliant piece of kit. Does it need a bigger screen or better screen? No, I don't think it does. One thing it does need, though, and there is someone independently working on it, is a good editor, like a good sort of app. For it to talk to. That would be really, really good. Hope so. Is there a percentage in there? Huh? Oh, are you talking about Loop Pro? No, we've just come to an arrangement. It's fine. It's all good. So there we go. The advantage of the 600 is it's hands-free for guitar players. Absolutely. Oh, hang on a minute. Are you talking about the 505 or the 600? Not the 500 and the 600, because the 500 is the 2-track looper that replaces the RC3, the RC30. The 505 and the 600, if you're a guitar player, yeah, it's more likely that you go for the 600. So if you're going for the 505, which is the tabletop one, is that what you're talking about? I was like, the 500? What? Yeah. Anyway, right. So. What are you saying, Chris? Through with MIDI, can you use both either way, really? Yeah, you can, absolutely. And that's what I need. Fantastic. So, I like to loop my favourite classic rock my favorite classic rock songs, or lots of blues, struggle with the build times and timing and hitting the right notes. Man, build times kill me. Yeah, the build times don't always have to be at the beginning, and that is something that's going in the course. So if you watch a lot of people who are new to looping, and when I say new to looping, I mean their first year. Okay, I'm not saying like the first couple of weeks, like their first year and a half to looping. We get into we get stuck in a rut. We get stuck in the same process of put everything on the looper and then start singing or then start playing, and you're 4 minutes in. That's way too long. You need to be 60 seconds in, and then you need to put the track down. And even then, that's a bit of a push. There's a way around it, and there's a way you just have to disassociate yourself from the MP3 or the YouTube, the Spotify version, or the CD version, as I used to call it, the album version. You need to make it your own. So, yeah, it definitely means that you need to look at the structure and how you're putting the loops down, not just the timing, but also in what order you're putting the loops down, because it's going to affect the undo redo, but also at the same time it's going to bore the audience or entertain the audience. So yeah, there we go. And Chris says, seems like the pro might be a bit more my alley. So how to loop like a pro? Check it out by all means. Go to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, and you can go over there. So I did have a thing for it. It's gone. Okay. Jay Marsh, the wild flute. Lovely. Hello. Good afternoon from the if you're in the UK. Where are you? Good afternoon from the UK. Interested in live looping on an instrumental mic, but creating ambient soundscapes. I have a looper board, as in the Headrush looper board. I hope that's cool. I've still got mine. It's sitting just there. So it is in the background just there. And then yeah, that'd be cool. Nice. Interested in live looping on an instrumental mic. Nice, that's cool. And creating some soundscapes. Soundscapes are really interesting when it comes to looping, because there is a bit of a talent to it about making sure you don't have this weird bump at the beginning or end, so you can't really tell when it starts or ends from an audience perspective. So that would be really, really interesting. I like that. That's nice. Cool. I only use MIDI for MIDI controller, FCB 1010. Never had any problems with the RC600. Oh, well, there we go. Australia Ray has had no problems with MIDI. That's good. Like that. Didn't even know there's a 500. Well, there is. If you're nerdy like me, what you like to do is go to boss.info, which I'm doing currently right now, and go through the actual range of loopers. So there are actually a range of loopers. There we go. So let me show you this. So as you can see right now, loop stations, as it currently stands, the flagships are the RC600 for floor pedal use, next generation loop floor based, and the RC505 Mark II next generation tabletop looper. And then look what happens then. It jumps to the RC5, which is a single looper, but then you've got, and there it is, the RC500. Strange name. I don't know why they called it that. They should have called it the RC30 Mark II or something, because it is basically a 2-track looper, and you've got record, play, stop, and then track select. But this was our first go at customizing the buttons. So everyone's like, oh yeah, with the 600 you can customize all the buttons and change over. You can actually do that on this one, and it's got TRS MIDI, and it's got the Control 1-2 expansion. So if you want to have a look at that, I've got loads of videos about that on my channel. So if you want to have a peruse, you can do. One, And then you've got the RC10R, which loads of people seem to have. I didn't realize how many people actually bought this. And it was kind of Boss's answer to the Beat Buddy with a looper. So it's kind of like got the rhythm section in with 2 different rhythms. You've got the circles like you've got now on the RC1, and you've got it now on the flagship. Sorry, I keep bouncing around. On the flagship with that single loop one there, and you've got it on the 502. Then you've got the RC202, and look at this. They still, on their website, have the RC300. Probably the most famous flagship looper, apart from the RC30. The RC300 is still there. It's not continued. It is actually still buyable. And I get why, because it's much bigger than the 600 when you put one next to the other. You've still got the expression pedal. I use that for the volume of the loops, which is really good. And then you've got your effects pedal, which the effects were okay for when it was released. I'm being nice there. And yeah, it's basically there's loads obviously there. Oops, sorry, wrong page. There we go. There's loads of loopers there with lots of different use cases. The RC202, 2-track looper but tabletop. The 505 Mark II and the 600 have the same brain basically. You've got 5 tracks, you've got 6 tracks, you've got access to 4 input effects, 4 track effects. Same on here, but it's just not programmed that way. You can reprogram it, and that's what I've done on mine. So let's stop sharing. There we go. So there's absolutely loads just from there. There we go. So you said you didn't know they had a 500. Well, now you do. And yes, right, you were talking about the 505 as opposed to the 600. That makes sense. I only just got that. You're talking about choose your own adventure comment, dude. Yeah, nice, cool. I was thinking of 505. Okay. Oh, that's a good question. What headphones would you use live that are not IEMs? It depends what you're doing, I suppose. I mean, you could... I'm a bit weird when it comes to live looping, even though it's my thing and it's what I do, but I don't use headphones. I don't use like in-ears, and I don't use like anything. I certainly don't use over-ears when I'm live. I feel really I've tried it. I tried it quite a while. I've tried it more than once, and I feel really disconnected from the audience. So I prefer, like, I'm old school. I prefer like a monitor on the floor, or just literally. The amount of times I've played just with the speaker pointing the other way, and you just get used to it. So that's a very good question. That's interesting. Chris Bongle, hello. Good afternoon. Where are we? Are you okay? Jay, I guess I'm struggling with the open mic capture rather than the ease of a line in like guitar. Do you have any tips for that? So is it the actual bleed of the sound that's actually the struggle? Remind me, Jay, what are we playing? What's the instrument? You said live looping on an instrumental mic, but creating ambient soundscapes. So are you is it singing? I know I said just sing. I don't mean that offensively. But like, is it singing? Is it harp? Is it I take it it's a flute. I was going to guess it's a flute because obviously the wild flute. There are dedicated flute mics you can get. I'm sure you may be aware of this, but you can get dedicated ones that attach. And then you've got the only downside with that is you then got a cable that kind of like bleeds down to the looper. So it depends what you want to do. Hello, how are you? Medcarp, how are you doing? Piers, morning. How are we? You all right? Morning. What you like? 2:36 p.m. here in the UK now. So there we go. Yeah. Jay, let me know what you think about obviously a dedicated flute mic, but let me know about that. I started with the Boss GT100 multi-effects, but I had a one-track looper, and I was hooked from there. Yeah. See, this is it. A lot of multi-effects processors will just bung a looper in. Of course, Boss will, because they want you to then go and get a bigger looper. That's very clever marketing. But the ones as well, there's other ones that just have a little bit of a looper in it, which is quite good. Things like the TC Helicon voice plays. They have loops in as well. So, yes, going back to obviously their range, it's because the RC300 was so good. It was, and it was the flagship for over, was it 11 years? 10 years? 11 years? 11 years. It was 11 years before, from the birth of the 300s to the 600s was an 11-year gap. It's quite impressive, really, if you think of it that way. So there we go. That's 100 tough. I always hear my metronome in the background of my loops. Think about live music, mic placement, and gain staging works for them. Don't ask me how. However, you say that, but what you can do is, obviously, if you do have something like in-ear monitoring, you can send the click track to you, and then the audience can't hear it, unless you've got it dialed so high that it's in your ear and it's bleeding into the microphone. But you can do things like that, where you can split the beat or the guide track on the RC600 or 505, for example, depending on what you've got. With the looper boards, you can obviously, you've got 4 outs, so you can actually route things like the click track and do things like that. The microphone I use on stage is a really cheap microphone, and it's the Fifine K8 microphone, so F-I-N-E. I did a review on it years ago, and because they asked me to, and I was just like, it's a cheap mic. I'm not sure. I did the K6, and it was really, really cheaply made, made to a budget. You can tell. And then the K8 was their premium microphone. I was like, well, what's premium for $29 or £29? It was, and it's great. It's really great. I've got 2 of them, and the reason I've got 2 is because I've got one in the bag in case one fails or someone pours beer all over it or it gets damaged, and then the second one in case someone goes, can I make a speech, if you're doing like a wedding or something. So I've got 2, and if I bust one, it's 29 quid, and SM58's around about 120 quid. So yeah, the Fifine K8, the reason why I like it so much, it's got really good rear rejection, so if like noise coming from that way gets rejected really well. You can hardly hear it. So I use that mic. I've used that mic for 3 years now. 3 years, 2019, yeah. And I use it live on stage. That is my go-to mic now. Love it, absolutely love it. Couldn't ask more. And I've only just done a video for the Fifine K688, which has got a weird name for it, and I pitched it against this one side by side. So if you haven't seen that video, go and have a look at that. So if you're looking for like a studio podcasty like microphone, that's a really good microphone as well, and that's £79. Don't get me wrong, this thing is amazing, and this is the Aston Stealth, and this thing, you could put screaming guitar on this and it'll work. I could put 48 volts phantom power through it, and right now I haven't. I just decided not to, and it still sounds great. I hope it sounds great. So there we go. Australia Ray, the RC600 picks up the drums if you don't mic mute. Now, it does, but again, it's about rear rejection, and also it's about placement. But you're absolutely right. But you need to figure out what you're going to do about that. Also, sometimes you just have to let it happen. If I'm in a corner of a really small local pub, I don't have the luxury of a sound engineer. I don't have the luxury of a full stage. It's just me, a speaker, and a live audience, and you just got to go for it. The trick with this, personally, is just don't be too perfect. Don't be like don't feel like it's not right or it's not right. Your audience are going, this is great. Like if they're going, if you can see them doing this, stop, please stop. then it's something wrong. But if they're all going, oh, they're like, yeah, loving it and everything, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're having a good time. It's all fun. Pierce. The main thing I don't like about my Loopy Pro setup and at open mic is that it gets between me and the audience. I can't move about like I want to. Is this because are you still touching the screen with Loopy Pro? You could invest in something like a Bluetooth pedal, something like the Boss FS1WL, or the big, what Ray has, the FCB 1010. Obviously that I really want to put the new chip on that though. But yeah, the problem with that is it feels when you're using something like Loopy Pro and you're touching, it feels more like you're kind of DJing because you're in one space. You're like on a computer, so it can separate you from the audience in that respect. What have I just done to my hair? So yeah, I get that. I totally get it when you're on there. However, if you're using the thing that I've just moved all the way over there, if you're using something like the Akai APC 40, that you could obviously put a bit like, feels like putting on a keyboard, and you could do that. So there we go. Jay, flute, DPA 4088 headset. Cool. Never heard of the DPA 4088 headset in my life because it's probably not in my circle of things. So I am now looking. Oh, one of these little. It's a Britney mic. Please don't be offended by that. Please don't hate me. Right. Okay. So you're using that mic whilst playing flute, right? Now the problem sometimes with these kind of mics is they're actually too sensitive, although this is a directional. So I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this and you're just looking at me looking down. Hang on a minute. Let's just show the world what we're talking about. There we go. Right, okay. So this is what Jay is using whilst, there we go, one of those, right? Oh, they do it in like skin colors. That's cool. So, wow, goodness me. Pristine audio quality, will be fantastic. Resistance, humidity, flexible, adaptive, yep, great. And you can adjust it, and that's all fine. Great, fantastic. Goodness, 71. Okay, looking for clipping, giving you plenty of headroom. That's fine. And they've got obviously different ones that they do, and I get that. That's fine. You've got different accessories and stuff. Makeup cover. That's brilliant. Yeah. So this is obviously really used for things like operas, and they use it for like pop shows. Like you can be completely move around. If you've got a radio mic, completely free. It makes sense. The problem you may have, I'd say, with something like that is going looper. The looper is 32-bit floating audio, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. But the noise of breath, maybe as you're using flute, is you're getting that noise through potentially. So that might be an issue potentially. But yeah, what you're gonna have to look at is, I don't know, as I say, a flute mic, a mic that goes on the flute may be better to capture that. You can tell me, because I don't play flute. You're going to have to tell me on this one, Jay. I don't know. But this doesn't seem, this is a really high priced mic. It looks absolutely lovely. Don't get me wrong. But, oh, there we go. Let's put our new background on. There we go, lovely. So yeah, this is a really lovely mic, but I don't know, obviously, what the sort of noise rejection is. The alternative is whether you can actually get different versions of these, which one side actually has more rejection than the other. I've seen that before, where people have got one where one side is denser than the other. It doesn't look any different, but actually one side's down, so it doesn't capture like the wind going through. So I don't know whether you can obviously sort of get things like that for it as well. But I mean, if they're used in things like, theatre, opera, things like that, it must be flipping good. But yeah, there we go. We've been taken on a whirlwind of microphone headset systems. There we go. So, yeah. Right then, so Australia Ray, Chris, I started on the Zoom G5. It hooked me and wound up with the 600 as the G5 was a one track with dub. Yeah, absolutely. I need to do voice as well, so it was my best solution. Still some bleed. And also the thing you mentioned about the bump at the start. Yeah, so if you're doing soundscapes, you're doing like imagine if you're doing voice soundscape. Oh, and people are actually, you've got harmonies maybe, or a drone, drone noise. What you don't want is you don't want that bit at the beginning of your voice. You don't want that boom. You go and hit it halfway through. So, or a quarter of the way through. So imagine the loop is a circle, obviously, in different ways, and think of it like it's going to. I'm starting to lose my voice now because I didn't take a deep breath. But you don't want to hit it when you start singing. You want to go. So you get that constant noise as opposed to your voice goes whoa. Maybe it doesn't. Mine does. I'm in my 40s and I don't sing as much as I should. But if you've got a trained voice and you're very good at hitting the note perfectly, it doesn't matter, because right at the very beginning, the vocal cord actually goes, duh, it literally moves to tune into that note. So even microscopic, it can really make an effect on things like looped soundscapes. So that's what I meant about the bump at the start. All I mean is basically just being able to get that perfect soundscape drone or harmony, things like that. I hope that makes sense. Hope I make sense. What's this? There's wireless wrist-worn metronomes too. That's just tap your wrist. Yeah, I've seen this. There's one that's like a watch, and there's also one on Apple Watch as well. Do you know there's a looper on Apple Watch? There's actually a looper that you can get on Apple Watch. Insane. I might do a video on it just for the fun of it. But yeah, it's not perfect, but it's just like I want to get this loop down. Can you imagine me doing this sort of like full Dick Tracy, like in the street? Yes, but there is wireless wrist-worn metronomes, and then what you do is you put the looper into like a free mode or an auto mode, and then the loop is dictated by you, and you don't hear the click, you just feel the click, and then eventually you probably might take that off because you know it that well. The good side of that is if you know that song is going to be 82 beats per minute and you set it, it's going to be 82 beats per minute. And it's going to be a lot more structured like that. The downside that I have, and I have this a lot, is if I'm looping live in the moment, I don't use a click track. I rarely use the rhythm section if I'm doing my own stuff. I do if I'm doing like cover gigs and things like that. But I've played and I've started looping. I'm like, that's too slow. When you realise you've put all the other layers on, you're like, that's a bit slow, like to sing to, and you either got two options: stick with it and sing the slow song, or turn it up and it'll all sound a bit weird and wobbly. The alternative is you do it too fast. So I've got a song which is like all I now have, and literally the first loop is me going boom 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 chigata, right? That's it. Boom boom cack boom boom chigata, right? And I've done it where I'm like full of adrenaline, go boom 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 chigata boom boom, and I'm like, whoa, this is like on steroids, and I've just got to be really, really careful. There we go. But yeah, you just got to be careful. But yeah, metronomes, obviously wrist metronomes, things like that could potentially help you. Absolutely. Chris at Australia Ray, I moved up to the 600 recently too. No looking back. Use it every day. One of the best music investments. Wow. Nice one. And does Chris and Australian Ray have my RC600 course? I don't know. So I do a full course on the Boss RC600 loop station. There's over 50 videos on there now, and I will be also adding more content as I am adding more things to it. But if you ever want to look at that, that's on my website as well. But can you hammer nails with the Fifine? Well, yeah, you can, but you know, it might not be a good mic anymore. There we go. Aston Male, gorgeous looking mics too. Mason. Aston mics, they are gorgeous looking mics, they are. So this is the Aston Stealth mic, and this has got 4 circuitries in it. So it's like having 4 mics, and you can use it either with or without phantom power, which is mad. And it was apparently the first mic in the world to do that as well. And this is the Aston Element that I always just have handy because it's a great mic, and a magnetic pop shield that just goes boop. Great for the studio. Really sensitive, so I don't really see many of these going out live, but that's why you see people using things like the Spirit and stuff like that. But again, this Ridian capsule, I think that's what was it, about £80 in the UK? I saw one, and for the price, it sounds like you're singing into like a £200-300 microphone. It sounds like you're singing into like something that's like not £80, definitely not. 159 originally, the original price for this was, but yeah, 80 quid I saw one for. Really good, amazing mic. There is no reason why you wouldn't use this to record your vocals in the studio, which funnily enough leads me nicely onto today's sponsor. So today's sponsor is sponsored by DistroKid. DistroKid are a music distribution company. So if you are recording your tracks and you are recording your songs, then DistroKid can actually get your music out to places like Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, Tidal, all these other places, but also things like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Now, why would you want that? Well, have you ever seen all these different reels blow up on social media with all these different sounds, like all the music that they use and stuff like that? Well, it can be your music. My music's there, so you can use my music in a Instagram reel if you want to. And that's because I distribute through these guys. And the most music distributors charge you multiple prices depending on what you put. So imagine like you release a single, they charge you. Then they release an EP, they charge you again. And they release you want to release an album, they charge you even more. That's what other distributors do. DistroKid don't do this. They charge you one price per year, and it starts at $19.99. And I say starts because they have a couple of different tiers. So you can actually do the musicians one, you can do musicians plus, and you can do the label tier as well. And I'm on the middle one. I'm on this one called Musicians Plus. It gives you 2 artists or bands, and then you've also got the customizable release date and customizable pre-order date. So with the link that is there, it's also in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. It should be on there on Twitch, LinkedIn, and Twitter as well, but we'll see. There's also a QR code, so if you scan the QR code, it'll take you straight there, and that QR code is that link that's just gone into the chat as well. So if you want to have a look at the chat, it's in there as well. And then also, you get 7%. You get 7% off. It's your first annual membership. So you get it for $18.59, give or take. And what else can you buy for under $20 that's going to give you a year's worth of money back, potentially? You could make 1,000,000 streams and make all that back 1,000,000 times over. Well, maybe not 1,000,000 times over, but you know what I mean. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that QR code up here whilst we carry on talking. And then if you want to scan it, that helps me out. And if you sign up, that helps me out as well. But also at the same time, it helps you. In fact, it even saves you money. Then instead of just going to DistroKid normally, you're going through my link and you're getting 7% off. How good is that? Right then, let's put that link up there in the corner. Let's take that off. And let's carry on chatting. Let's have a look. Now, where are we? Yep. Cool. I like this bass, absolutely. Drum bleed is how you know it's live. The other thing as well is there is this thing about obviously getting sort of like the perfect loops and the perfect takes and stuff. But what you also have to remember as well is that, yeah, it's live. And you just need to just go, you know what, this is the live element of it. But you obviously don't want feedback. You don't want it to be obviously overpowering, but I get that. So we're all our own worst critics. It's tough not to get your loops 100% before moving on to the next part. It is, but also there's that grit, there's that live bit to it. I've just thought of this right now, so apologies because my brain's all over the place. I need to find something, and I need to find something for Jay if they're still online. Right. Where is it? There it is. Right. Let me just share my screen. Now, this is not to solve your flute problem, but what it is to do is all about kind of structure and things like that. Certainly with things like the RC600. So, let me just go here. If no one has seen this yet, and I cannot believe she's not got more subscribers and more views on this, but have a look at this one, the RC600 live performance talk through with Joe Quayle. This one video really came out showing me what's possible with the RC600, because she uses the assigns, she changes things on the fly. It's all programmed up before the performance, but it's incredible what she does with this. So if you haven't seen this yet, it's about 18 minutes long because you can see her talking in the bottom there. So she has this this video performance. There it is, Forge. So she's got this video called Forge. It's got 8.6 thousand views, and the funny thing is the talk through of how she does it is almost almost the same. So that it's about 7-minute performance, and she's a cellist, and it's a fantastic piece of kit, and it's fantastic to see what she does with it, and she talks through how she changes stuff. It's a great way to showcase what's possible live. So if you haven't seen that yet, I would suggest go see it. It's really good. Right, where were we in the chat? The question I have is the question for this live stream is how to loop the looping starter kit live Q&A, and it's not just random Q&A. I'm actually building a course which is called the looping starter kit, which is that one, and I want your questions. This looping, just to give you an insight into this, I have another course which is called How to Loop Like a Pro. That's already out. The looping starter kit is meant to be like at the shallow end of the pool, moving into the deeper end, and the How to Loop Like a Pro is the sort of other stuff. So what I want is I want your questions from this live stream, and I'm going to go through this live stream afterwards. I'm going to write down what people have said, and we'll, if it's in the course already, great. If it's not, then we can look at adding it in. Now I'm building the course at the moment, and whilst I'm building the course is going to come out for $97, but you can buy it right now with a 25% discount, and then that way you get it 25% cheaper. And if you scan the QR code, it's just come up in the chat as well. That will take you to the link. And what you can also do, instead of buying it like all in one go, you can do it over 4 monthly installments, and you get 25% off the first month. So it comes in, I think the first month comes in about 18 quid. $18. So if you want to scan that QR code, obviously that helps me out massively because it's my course, it's on my website, so you're supporting me directly as opposed to like an affiliate or anything like that. And then when the course comes out, you'll get full access to it. It's a one price, and you've got full access forever. The course works on sort of like desktop, it will work on mobile. You'll have access lifetime, like, so if I add another chapter, you'll get it. As with all my courses, like I did with the RC600 course, like there's now over 50 videos. It started with about 40. There's now 53 videos on there, and you get my settings as well. So the looping starter kit is about starting looping, like getting used to looping, and I'm not going to be talking about different loopers. I'll recommend some if you want me to, but depending on whether you're using a pedal or whether you're using loop like an iPad or whatever, but we're going to be talking about getting you past that first hurdle of, yes, you press the button, oh, it doesn't sound right, why doesn't it sound right, let's fix that. So that's what the looping starter kit is all about. So I hope that makes sense, but I want your questions. So ask me anything you want about looping. In fact, I could just put that up, couldn't I? Ask me anything you want, and you can then obviously go through the looping starter kit. It's in its infancy at the moment. In fact, it's being built at the moment, but whilst it's being built, once it's out, that 25% is going to go. So I did this last time on one of my courses, and then the day it came out, I gave you 24 hours to get your act together and get it, and then that was it. Then the discount was gone. Okay, so if you want to scan the QR code, or the QR code just came up, as I say, in the chat. So if you want to have a look at that, then please do so. Right, let's move it away. Right, so we are our own worst critics. Yes. Now, I need to get a pedal and learn to drive it. When I'm streaming, I drive it with Launchpad. Okay, so you're using Launchpad. Is that why you're feeling a bit restrictive? But then a pedal would be in one position on the floor as well. So, depends what you want. Yes, that's true. At least with the Launchpad, you don't look down as much. Because for those who don't know, Piers is using Loopy Pro on iPad. Or I assume it's iPad. Could be using it on iPhone. No chip needed for the FCB 1010. Cool. JP waiting for the multi-iPad video for looping. Oh, yes, you did comment on this, didn't you? The multi-iPad video for looping. Now, since I've got you on this live stream and you're talking about multi-iPad video, why? My question back to you is, why do you want that? Why do you want, other than emulating being Beardy Man, who has his own personal software for having obviously multiple, he has 4 iPad 12.9 inches to control different things, but we're all doing slightly different things even though it's under the same software. Why do you want more than one iPad running the same Loopy Pro? That's my question to you. I want an answer in the chat, please. Don't want that music standing holding my... Oh, okay, that makes sense. Please do. Australia 8, please. I will have to post a video of my setup. Please do. And when you do, tag me in it. And just, I'm very interested, because there is a chip you can get for the FCB 1010. The FCB 1010 is old, right? In the terms of technology, it's quite ancient. And there was a little chip you could get to upgrade it, and it would actually upgrade a couple of things. I can't remember what it upgraded. And I had one, and yeah, it's just like, I just didn't get on with it, which is a shame, because I've always wanted to get on with it. But there we go. Here's Kate Bushmic. If you ask an old fart like me. Oh, the DPA do make an exceptional mics. They do. There we go. For that price, the mic better sing itself. Oh, did I make a mistake? Apologies. Oh, he's using all capitals. Opera singers don't use mics. Apparently. Yeah, okay. Of course they don't. In those massive halls. No, I know. Don't be angry at me. Having said that, though, the stages that they stand in, they do have stage mics that are actually on the floor to alleviate or to accentuate the sound in the gods. Did you know that? Because they do. So they don't have mics on them, but there are actually floor mics and stage mics actually on the stage at the end there to capture the audience, and there's still someone mixing that. So there you go. There's your, not everywhere, not all places, but stages that have bigger or 3 tiers. So they have you've got the normal floor, you've got the second one, and one's got a third one. They do have stage mics, because otherwise the echo and the delay would be too long. Just to let you know that. There's your little tip for the day. And I know that because I know someone who works in the stage environment and has actually showed me those mics. Yes, they are directional and rejects extra noise. Sound is most important for high and end flutists, and these are the best recommended. Got to go with the best. That's it. When we talk about loopers, we want the best. So absolutely. Definitely starting the drone, then punch the loop is the way to go. Absolutely, yeah. So you just don't want that little or like little fluctuate or whatever. Get yourself into a constant drone yourself before you loop it. Absolutely. There we go. Good morning from Memphis. Thank you for the Loopy Pro tutorials. I'm still learning. Lovely, fantastic. We just filmed another one this morning, so it's going to be edited up. I'm going to edit that this week, and it should be hopefully out as soon as possible. This week's one is all about the effects and plugins, and then the next one is about building your own looper inside Loopy Pro. And if you want to talk to someone who's done that already, have a quick word with Pierce, because Pierce has had a lot of fun building their own looper inside Loopy Pro using what's called the canvas. That's its official name, by the way. So yeah, it's it's real good fun, and you get lost in what do I want on this screen. Definitely. I'd assume that the wrist jobs would what? I'd assume that the wrist jobs would sync to MIDI clock. Oh. I was wondering what you're talking about then, Piers. Wrist jobs. You're talking about the metronome wrist clock things. Would sync to MIDI clock or the live protocol. Yes, potentially. That'd be good. I usually end up at 80 when I want to be at 60 BPM. I hope you're talking about BPM. So there we go. Mostly when I'm out of practice. Love the look of my Spirit. As well as the sound. Have you got a Spirit? Have you, Pierce? That's really nice. It's a really nice mic. Really, really good. When using the iPad mic, I would get bleed into the next track. Yes, you will. You absolutely will. So go to episode 3 of the Loopy Pro video manual, and we talk about gear. If nothing else, headphones. If you're at home and you're just practicing and just playing around with it, headphones, or go and get the Apple headphones that are like jack headphones, and then you can get the adapter that goes into a USB-C iPad. Or if you've got an iPad or iPhone that's got the jack, then don't worry, you're fine. But if you're using it, think of it this way. I've got my iPad right here. Think of it this way. Microphone's here. It's 2 little dots. Don't know if you can see that. Microphone's there. That's where the sound comes out of. But with an iPad Pro, the sound comes out of this side as well. So it's going to hear it. It's going to bleed back into it. So you need to isolate that. So headphones or an audio interface, and then you can plug your audio interface. If you've got a jack like that, then you can go and get an audio interface and plug that directly in. My latest sort of go-to audio interface is the Arturia Mini Fuse 2 or 4, the Mini Fuse 2. Not expensive at all. The Minifuse Studio that I'm using right now is expensive, but the Minifuse, the Audio Fuse Studio, the Minifuse 2 is fine, absolutely fine. It's really, really love. So it's fine, no problem at all. There we go. How do I do it like Mark? Well, right. Okay. Well, Mark uses Ableton. And then, no, he doesn't. I'm lying to you. I'm completely lying to you and thinking of someone else. Sorry. Mark uses his computer, and I think he used to use Logic Pro, and now he uses MainStage. So MainStage on Apple is a program where you get the sounds from Logic Pro, and he had a load of sounds, and then he's got a MIDI keyboard, and that MIDI keyboard basically plugs into his computer, and then he has the I think he's got the 505. I think he's got the Mark II now, but the 505 goes into that via USB, and then he plugs his microphone into the 505. It's as simple as that. It's actually quite a simple setup. I can't remember if originally he plugged his microphone into an audio interface and then he used some effects on his vocals through MainStage. But now with the Mark II, I think he just plugs straight in. So yeah, I think he just plugs straight into the 505 and uses the built-in effects. I've just realised you respelt it. There we go. He's a fantastic looper, obviously, and he's done himself an absolute amazing job he did live streaming all the way through lockdown. And then when he came up with that track, and all of his stuff's like live in the moment, and he came up with that track, which everyone's now saying is the alarm clock. It's brilliant. But I've been watching him for a long time. I really want to pin him down for an interview for the How Do You Loop series. But also at the same time, I just don't know if he's going to be like, yeah, totally, you plug that into there and this is how I do it. Or he's going to be the Mark you know and love and be absolutely crazy. And then it'd be like herding cats. So So yeah, so we'll have a look. There you go. Jay, thank you. You're welcome. No problem at all. There are, as I say, like you could the drain thing and also the little shield things. I don't know if you can get one, but I've seen them before, as I say. So imagine a very small version of this, because this goes on my microphone, and then imagine like one side of it. This is huge, but imagine one side of it is like denser than the other, and it's for rejection. So yeah, so I hope that helps. And I'm now trying to put that back up there. There we go. Yeah, Mark Rebellier, go back to Mark, is just, if you don't know who he is, absolutely brilliantly, just he's crazy, but he's brilliant at creating loops, and just is just nothing but like improvised loops all the time. So people of that caliber, of sort of like Mark, Dub Effects, Beardy Man. Mark and Beardy Man have this sort of real big comedy element to them, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And I could sit and watch that all day long. In fact, I actually sat and watched one of Mark's live streams, and he was on for 3 hours. And I just had him on. It was fantastic just to watch him create stuff. So the keyboard he's got, MIDI keyboard, also has 16 pads, and he's got drums. And I remember seeing an interview of him in the radio show, and he just said, I found some sounds that I liked in main stage, and I saved them. So I think he just literally uses the computer for live streaming, and then has main stage, and then just clicks through the ones he wants and goes, that's the right noise I want. And you see him work it out. You see him figure out different noises. And I don't know if he's pre-planned that. I don't know if he's just doing it in the moment. But I did a live stream a couple of months back, with the 505 and the iPad as my keyboard, just to see if I could actually do it. And yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Right, so Piers, I've heard isolated tracks from some classic Motown stuff, and there's lots of bleed. There's one Smokey Robinson's recording backing vocal dubs, and you can definitely hear his cans. Well, there you go. And I bet it's got millions of plays through the years. There's two things for looping, which I'm going to put into the course, but I'm also going to tell you right now. One is the one you already know. Don't take so long to build up your loops, but I'm going to show you how to do that. The second one is don't be perfect. Like if you're in a studio environment where you need to record what you're doing down, and it's going to be played back a million times over, fine. If it's a live environment that's not being recorded, don't worry about it. Don't be perfect. Just go for it. So there we go. Where's a good place to get guitar loops? I need some Nile Rodgers. Well, so you mean already made guitar loops? The first one, to be quite honest, if you're on any kind of like iOS, Apple, or Mac, is actually GarageBand. Would you believe? So GarageBand has a load of what they call live loops, and they're completely royalty free. Do you know what the #1 live loop was on the Mac? It's the drum beat for Rihanna Umbrella. And I know Rihanna's just done the halftime show for the Super Bowl, but the drum beat from Rihanna Umbrella, and it became that famous that they bought the live loop so no one else could use it. And it's completely royalty free. They didn't even change it. So they have loads of packs on there. They have thousands of loops, both iOS and Mac, and you can go and grab them straight away. And there's funk one. You can put down in the thing, like do it by funk or do it by like chromatic or something like that. So if you want some loops, you can grab them. Go and grab stuff from GarageBand. There's obviously lots of different companies that make loops and that make packs and stuff. But for guitar ones, I'm not too sure, if I'm completely honest. You could always ask someone to like maybe pay them to make a load of loops for you. My friend John Wynn plays a lot of funky stuff. You might want to grab him. His YouTube channel is obviously John Wynn. Go and speak to him. See if you can pay him to go and get a load of loops, and he can just send them to you. I don't know. I'm making things up now. Here we go. Oh, okay. This was additional to here, wasn't it? Sorry. You can definitely hear stuff in these cans, and not just the quiet bits. Oh, nice. You are more than welcome. No problem at all. So I'm adding effects and discovering some joy with really long delays and start looping in addition, JP. In addition to other layers, would love to explore this weird bit with you for the course as an extra bit. Nice, cool idea. So that's a cool idea. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, the Good Time Folk Rock Show is in the house. Good afternoon. How are we? You okay? Hope we're well. So the question for people who have just come into the live stream is, I'm making a course. There we go. God, I don't know what's going on with me today. I'm making a course called the Looping Starter Kit. Ta-da! And I'm building it right now. And it's going to be selling for $97, but at the moment, whilst I'm building it, you can get it for $72.75, and therefore you get it 25% off. There's also an option for you to get it for 4 monthly payments. So the first one is 25% off. So it basically comes in about $18 for your first month. And this is going to be a course where we can start looping and have a look at start looping. So if you are interested, obviously there's a QR code there. That's just also come up in the chat as well. So by all means, have a look. But the question I'm asking is, it says live Q&A. What do you want to see in this? What do you want to see in this course? I'm going to do that. And that's going to be the thumbnail. I'm being silly. There we go. So yeah, so ask the question, and if it's in the chat, I'm going to go through this live stream and filter through it and look at all the questions, and then I've written most of this now, and we're going to start filming it very soon. So if there's stuff that you want in the course, how do I do this? How do I plug in a certain way? How do I put a looper in with this? Then ask me, and we'll see if it actually fits for most people. We're not going to be talking about very specific loopers. We're talking about looping. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Right, let's get back to the chat. How to use jazz elements for live looping with sample packs or play simultaneously. That's a good one, isn't it? How to use jazz elements to live looping. So, Frankie, help me out on this one. Sample pack or play simultaneously. Are you asking that you want to add a jazz element? Obviously that makes sense, but you're looking to with a sample pack. So are you saying you need something else that you're not playing, like maybe a double bass or piano chords, things like that? Maybe building a skeleton track so you can play or loop over the top of it. That is a very good question. I like that. That's very nice. Pedals in one place, but I don't like the whole music stand look. Yes, well, I tell you what, if you don't like the whole music stand look, have a look at a company called Gravity Stands. So I did a couple of videos with them, and this stand that my microphone's on right now is a Gravity stand, but then I've got another one which is called a 3D arm. So they have a 3D arm which is really, really good, and it's really sturdy. And then there's also, again, it's all the way over there because I moved it for the live stream and now you want to see it. There's also an iPad stand which goes on a keyboard stand. Ta-da! Just what you want. So you could have put the stuff on a keyboard stand, and then they have a keyboard stand which has a metal plate that goes on it, and it's like a DJ. It turns it into like a DJ thing, but it's really quick. The only downside with it is obviously it's quite hefty because it's basically a big aluminium sheet that locks in though. And that's really, really cool. Definitely. Beardy's moving to LP apparently. Yeah, that's what I heard. Dub Effects moved over and said he's never going back to a hardware looper. Michael and Beardy Man have been consulting. He's been talking to him. So that's very interesting. So custom software is unimaginable. Can you imagine the start of that? Like I remember when he was talking about building some kind of like custom looper. And I remember this, like, because I followed Beardy Man for a long time. And then the looper that it is now, and then just knowing what everything does when you look at it. There's a down shot that he has, and you can see all four, and then he's got the keyboard and he's got everything else, and everything's coming out of his mouth. Even when he plays stuff, the original oscillating sound is from his voice. Can you imagine having all that in your head, like understanding where everything is, like all the effects and everything else, and then having to like then sing and create tracks? Absolute genius, in my book. But there we go. Multi-surface is great if you don't want a menu dive or screen switch to get what you want. So yes, with Loopy Pro, you can actually do scenes and do pages in between on the same session. And I'm probably guessing that's what Semtex Cow wants to do as well, if you want more than one running at the same time. The difficulty you're probably going to get is, like, how do you get the audio? You could probably match stuff up with Bluetooth, but you're going to be a couple of milliseconds out. So it's an interesting one, that one. Any good songs or artists recommended for newbies to learn from? The Beatles, Twist and Shout, 3 chords all the way through. There's a load of different, like, 4-chord songs. I'll tell you what. The Axis of Awesome, the 4-chord song. Okay, it's called the 4-chord song. It's the Axis, AXIS, the Axis of Awesome, the 4-chord song. All you need to do is learn that, and you've got about 30 songs under your belt that you can, if you split all them up and separate them out, you can loop all of them. So there you go. There's one song that'll give you about 30 different songs all in one go. But to be fair, watch the video because it's really funny. So there we go. There we go. Didn't even see that then. Piss. That was also my thinking. You're talking about multi-surface, aren't you? There we go. Recommend minimal build only with your voice. There you go. Done. Put a mic in that. That's it. That's all you need. Boss RC505 Mark II. 5 tracks, loads of different effects. If you don't feel convinced, go and watch Swizz Beats, and go and watch all the beatboxing championships. My God, what they can do with that thing. For all voices, incredible. If you want to watch someone at the top of their game, go and have a look at an artist called Saro, Saro, and look at the quarter final beatbox champion. I think it was from 2017, and it just shot up to that video went viral, and it's just insane what this guy's doing with that tabletop looper. I nearly said loop pedal. There we go. What is a good basic looper I can use with a mic and a guitar? Well, the basic looper you can get with a mic and a guitar, if you can get hold of one, because they don't make them anymore, is the Boss RC30. It had an XLR and it has got a 1/4 inch. The reason they don't make it anymore is because they've replaced it with the Boss RC500. Strange name, I know, but there we go. I would go for the 500 because you can customize it. The 30 is good, don't get me wrong, but and you probably find one for cheap, and I've still got one. But the 500 is much better. The sound quality is better. You can customize the buttons, and it's got a little bit of effects in there. But you can do some real cool things with it, and it's expandable as well, both through controllers and also through MIDI, and that's the big one. TRS MIDI and MIDI in general for guitarists is really coming back. Has anyone seen the new Morningstar pedal, the MC6 Pro? Amazing, looks really good. Really like the look of that. Imagine attaching that to a looper, and it's got individual LCD screens. Oh, love that. You can see what I like, can't you? Is it an easy way to send MIDI LFO control another LFO, for example, with controls a synth in Loopy Pro? So what you want to do is you want to send like a constant wave of MIDI. Is that what you mean? Like control a synth in Loopy Pro? You can send MIDI to another place, absolutely. So you can actually, if you've got MIDI from somewhere, you can send it actually through Loopy Pro to control a different something else. So yes, in inverted commas. So you can do that. There's a couple of things which, if you have a look at the beta team on Loopy Pro, Michael is working currently on being able to loop MIDI, and that's going to change the game massively, because at the moment, obviously, that's something he's working on. It's not there yet, but one of the big ones is using Loopy Pro in conjunction with AUM. So you can use AUM as your door, and then bring Loopy Pro into that. And that is just monstrous. You don't need anything else other than, you know, a load of AUV3 plugins, obviously, but those two working in tandem is just so flipping powerful. Now, I never got heavily into AUM, but I've seen so many people use AUM and now Loopy Pro together. But I think eventually you'll just need Loopy Pro. Because once they properly get down being able to loop MIDI, as in looping the MIDI notes themselves, and you just say, right, that controls that AUV3 plugin, done. That's it. It can already do all the audio side, so that's kind of like the last part of it, really. I think that's going to be massive. So there we go. There's way more physical layouts than mine. Don't need tend to have more than 3 loops on the go. There we go. Why do you need multiple pages if you only need 3 loops? Now, here's a question for you. Do you need to see those loops? Or could you do it all, like, without looking at the donuts? I wonder. Got a trick. One trick to avoid the bump is to guesstimate the loop length, record a silent loop at that length, and then you can overdub and punch in at any time and record across the loop end seamless that way. That's fantastic. Thank you for that tip. That's great advice. I love that. So that way you've actually already got a loop that's kind of set in. This is really good for pedals. You could also do this on things like Loopy Pro as well. But the only downside of that is you may have to do that if you're not doing it with a mic, that's great, because if you're doing it with like keyboards or you're doing it with things like that, if you're doing it with a mic, then you're susceptible to bringing in the bleed from the area, unless you use a mic mute, of course, and you mute that microphone, and then you've got no sound whatsoever. But that is a fantastic option. I like that a lot. That's really, really good. How to get someone with a really, really loud car. And not the car itself, as in like you can hear the conversation that they're having as they drive past. How to get these AUV3 windows which contain loop controls like buttons and sliders. A little hint would be enough. So, how to get AUV3 window which contains loop controls like buttons and sliders. Are you talking about Loopy Pro? And if you are, then all you need to do is you just need to go onto the pencil tool. And then when you go into the pencil tool, you go into what's called the canvas. When you go into the canvas, you can then start adding things on. I'm going to be talking about that in one of the episodes on the Loopy Pro video manual. Next episode is about effects and plugins, as in AUV3. And then we're going to start talking about how to build it all up as like a big looper. So the looper you've seen in maybe if you've been watching the Loopy Pro video manual, you may have seen it where you got like 5 loops and then 5 loops, but you can get to something like that where we've got individual stuff going on, so we can actually I hope you can hear that. And I'm actually using things like House Mark 1. We're using some different sounds there. I'll stop that. But there we go. So we've got loads of different things going on, and I can show you how you can build your own version of that loop. So as I say, the next episode is all going to be about AUV3 plugins and effects, and then the one after that is going to be about building your own sort of customs. But a little hint, if you want to custom, the little pencil tool, just there, just in the bottom there, if you give that a tap, this all spins around, and you can edit this how you like, and you can move things around, literally move it around and put it how you like it. So I hope that helps you. Main stage looper is so limited. I don't think, going back to Mark, I don't think Mark's using the main stage looper. I think he was just literally using main stage to get his library of sounds and then and pick them. But you're right, it's not. It is dated, and it is that too. Really enjoyed that live stream with the 505 Mark II. What do you mean? The one where I just completely just went mental and I just did like whatever came into my mind. Yeah, thanks. That's good. I'm glad you liked it. That's good. Um, get that loop feedback down to 80%. Let the stakes fade out. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, JP, for the moment. Pre-made loops are fine. I've got ideas for full on Young God style guitar tunes. Money is bad subject right now, man, but thanks for the info. No, you're welcome. No problem at all. I'd say go into GarageBand. There's absolutely loads, even on iOS. They're free. Go and get the free ones. Absolutely. So yeah, you can do things like that. Oh, there you go. That's another one. Splice. I didn't think of Splice because I don't really think of things like, because I don't use it. Just spent 3,800 credits on Splice because I haven't bought a loop, so I want to cancel the subscription finally. There you go. Subscription. Yeah, fair enough. Mainstage comes with all the loops and instruments from Logic Pro for a fraction of the price. If you don't want to do the recording side, there's a great tip from Piers. And I know Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro, at one point they had a 90-day trial. I don't know if Mainstage still has that. I'm not sure. But here we go. Subscription was running for years. This is it. It's a terrifying thing with the subscription is if you don't use something and then you go back and go, how much did I spend? Like, how much did I spend not using it? Or if I did use it, total that up over the amount of months. You're like, I could have bought an actual musician to come in and like a session musician to come in and make stuff for me. So yeah, so crazy stuff. There we go. I think Jay and is it Jaren or Garen? Need to connect to each other because I think you guys could help each other out. That's what I like about live streams like this. You guys get to meet each other. This is fab. Love that. So I hope you guys are both still here and both meeting up. That'd be really, really cool. And you can pass each other advice. That is also why I created the Looping Circle, which is my community. So if you go to johnpaulmusic.co.uk, scroll all the way to the bottom and you can actually sign up to my newsletter. And from there, you can actually get into the Looping Circle. So this is where people can actually just talk to each other. It doesn't matter what loop you have, which way you loop or how you loop. If you're using a delay pedal or an old tape delay and you're using the latest one, it's about talking to each other about looping in general and just helping each other out, as opposed to I'm on Facebook or I'm on Discord or I'm on this. So it's all in one place. So there we go. I'm going to have to create a link so you guys can just go to it straight away. Have you seen it? It's so funny. You can set Loopy up as a control surface for your... Yes, you can. And we were talking about this. So I can't remember who did it. Someone did it on Facebook, on YouTube only a couple of days ago. And they had Loopy Pro that on an iPad, like on the desk. And then they got their phone and they're just doing this and it's changing. So they're using that as a Bluetooth MIDI controller. So it's Loopy Pro on the phone being a Bluetooth MIDI controller for Loopy Pro on the iPad. Now what you could do is if you had two iPads, you could still do the same. So therefore, instead of being a multi-surface device, you could then just have just the controls you need on one, and then the other one just sits there out the way. You don't actually touch it, but that's the one it's controlling. So you could do that. Don't have to worry about timing unless you can spot network latency. That makes sense. You can do a lot vocally with an RC5 or an RC500. You can. I used to do, I did a gig a couple of years ago. It's actually on the YouTube channel if you scroll all the way down, almost all the way down to the bottom. It was recorded by my dad. I did a show in an open theatre, funnily enough, a weird one, like a no-seated one. And it was literally the phone. It was Loopy HD on here with an audio interface and a microphone. That was it. I didn't even use a pedal. Like, it was just that. I think I had a floor. I think I had an IK Multimedia Blue board. Well, there we go. You're welcome. No problem at all. If you want the cheapest way to get into looping, it's apps. Get an app. Loopy HD, L7 Looper, Quanta Loop Pro, and then obviously if you don't want to commit to hardware yet, but you do need things like an audio interface if you want to plug in, that's the only downside. But if you've got one, great. You want to send MIDI to MIDI? Yeah. Control the LFO rate with another LFO. Not sure is my actual response right now without me having to try it, but should be able to. With multi-out, is it in the beta at the moment? No, he said he's building it. It's not even on beta at the moment. So you can go to Loopy Pro, and there is a beta team. It's publicly out there, of course. Beta teams are publicly out there. You know what I mean. It's there. It's not a secret. So if you do want to join it, you can do. But obviously, the caveat with all betas is it could break. So just be aware of that. And the one thing you can do as well is you can reach out to Michael. Michael is lovely and is fantastic and can really talk to you about what he's building. And he has a roadmap. If you just go to loopypro.com, he has a roadmap for what he wants to do. So you may be able to find that what you need is already there. So look at the roadmap, because the roadmap actually shows what's going to be happening like next, and then what's further down the line. So there we go. As soon as Loopy Pro can support multi-channel AUV3 as well, it's going to be, yes, multi-channel, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Multi-channel AUV3 would be really, really good. I don't know where that is. Yeah, no, it's not. I keep highlighting things which I shouldn't highlight. There we go. Don't need to do the loops, but in some previous versions, more like a trip, a bug if you're recording into a loop that's not visible. Yeah, absolutely. What we got? Just because I don't personally have complex setups doesn't mean I don't understand why someone might want it. Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I understand that. I get that completely. I was just messing around. I'm being dry. AUM is fantastic. Coupled with Loopy Pro, could create an endless rabbit hole. This is absolutely true. Couple Loopy Pro, maybe. I don't know if Piers has played around with this as well, but AUM and Loopy Pro. AUM's like a. I said this about Loopy Pro's mixer, but it's like a mixer that builds with you. It's very similar in that respect, but the sends are very clever. But the way it controls the MIDI is very good. So there we go. Just want a separate window with controls. Well, you can obviously with Loopy Pro, you can have like a second window. So while the loops are going, you could move that down and back up again, or you could mix it. You could have some loops there, and have the controls that you need, or grab like a hardware controller. I'm pointing over there because my APC 40 Mark II is sitting there, and that could obviously, you could control things on there without having they could be the buttons for the controls whilst you've got the buttons for the loops on the iPad, or the other way around. So you could do it that way, definitely. Oh, there we go. So Michael is great in the LP Discord server. Jump on the LP Discord server. He's obviously very active in there as well. Loopy Pro has all the routing I personally need, so I've not bothered with adding AUM. Fair enough, that makes sense. I think when MIDI and the multi-audio AUV3 comes in, that would be unstoppable. So guys, I'm actually going to wrap it up there, but more than point, before I do, thank you very much for this wonderful chat, because it's been great. Now, if you're watching this on the replay and you're like, oh, I didn't get a chance to ask JP, put it in the comment section below. And everyone who's live right now, just give this a thumbs up. I really, really would appreciate it, because then it's going to go out to more people, and then they can have their chance to ask the question what they want in the looping starter kit. So the last little thing is, obviously this live stream is sponsored, and it's sponsored by our friends over at DistroKid, who are a music distribution company. And that link will give you 7% off the first annual membership with DistroKid, which includes that QR code. And that QR code that's been there the entire time. Well, not the entire time, but quite a lot of it. So if you are thinking about all these different loops creations that you're making, and you go, do you know what? That's a good song. That I want to release it. I just don't want to put it. I don't just want to put it on like a Facebook group. I want to get it on Spotify, or I want to get it on Apple Music. You can, and you can do it for $18.59. So what I'd highly recommend is sign up, and then you've got that there. It's just sitting there then free, that you can release as much music as you want to. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this live stream. And finally, if you are interested in the Loopy Pro sorry, let me rephrase that. Finally, if you're interested in the Looping Starter Kit, the Looping Starter Kit is my new course that we're talking about today. And then that way, basically, if you scan that QR code, you're going to get 25% off it. As soon as that QR code, as soon as I've released it and I've made it, that 25% is going to go. So scan it now, and then you can buy it now. You can even buy it in 4 monthly installments, and the first month you get the 25% off as well. So I realize money is tight for some people. So at the moment you can get the Looping Starter Kit the first month. You can get it for like 18 quid, $18. But once I've built it and once I've released it, then that is going to go, and it will be $97. If you want to see all of my other courses, then you're more welcome to do so. You can actually have a look at that through johnpaulmusic.co.uk. I've got the How Do You Loop Like a Pro and the RC600 course. And finally, if you found value from this live stream, if you've got some good advice from this live stream, then thank the person who's given you that advice, whether it's someone in the chat, or if you really feel like you want to, you don't have to, but if you're on YouTube, there's a little heart with a $sign. That's called a super thanks. And if you're not on YouTube, then you can scan this QR code, and what this does is this basically buys me a coffee, and so actually it's just a little way of tipping an artist or tipping a musician or tipping a YouTuber, and then that way, obviously, you don't have to. Of course, everything we do here obviously on the channel is free, but if you do feel like doing that, then obviously super thanks is awesome. Thank you very much if people do that. But also, if you are not on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitch, you're watching on LinkedIn, or you're watching on Twitter, then you've also got Buy Me a Coffee as well. Right then. Me and the DistroKid gremlin, he's cute, isn't he? Are going to go. But thank you very much for this. And as I say, if you want to put your comments in on the replay, please do so, and I'll have a look at this for you as well. And we're going to, next week, we've got something new. Something new, they say. Oh, the people have gone already. They're missing out. It's like that. One more thing. So this is the Looping Starter Kit live Q&A. Next week, we're talking about this. How I live stream as a musician. And believe me, the amount of equipment you need is very little. So that live stream is there already on YouTube as a placeholder, ready to go next week. So please join us next week. It is going to be on Monday as opposed to Tuesday. Just got a lot of other things going on, but please join us for the next one, as I say, which is how I live stream as a musician. I'll leave that there. Have a good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening from. Thank you very much for joining us. Go and get my course.